there are approximately 300 stories of a worldwide flood in cultures from every corner of the world. These stories shouldn't surprise us because after the flood, the Bible states that God divided the world into different language groups at the Tower of Babel in Genesis chapter 11. At this point, they started creating their own unique histories, but everything before this, including the worldwide flood, was common history to all, which would have been passed down from generation to generation. This includes the Babylonian story of Gilgamesh, who gathered a pair of all the world's creatures on a giant boat in order to save them from the deluge. Researchers at London's British Museum recently translated an ancient Babylonian tablet, and they were shocked by what it said. On one side was a map that actually provided directions so people of that day could visit the Ark. People were told to go to a known location called Urartu. They were then told what direction they had to go and how far they needed to travel to see it for themselves. In an interview with CBN, British Museum curator Dr. David Finkel said, quote, "From the Babylonian point of view, this was a matter of a fact thing," unquote. Other flood accounts have surfaced among Indian tribes in America like the Pueblo, Hopi, and Cheyenne. In his book, Mythology of the Blackfoot Tribe, D.C. Duval writes that a great flood required the Blackfoot to climb a giant mountain to escape the rising waters. While there, a god called Napi gave them water and food. When they drank the water, the people began speaking in different languages. This follows the biblical timetable, which has the Tower of Babel taking place shortly after the flood. In India, the Shatapatha Brahmana, dated from 700 to 300 BC, tells how people were warned about an impending flood and how Manu built a giant boat and saved the animals. One Chinese story states that Fui, his wife, 3 sons and 3 daughters, survived the flood and repopulated the world. This matches the number in the biblical account where Noah, his wife, 3 sons, and their wives were taken on the ark. From the Inca in South America to the aborigines in Australia to the Ket in Siberia, there are stories of a great flood. While some write off these stories as myths, many wonder why almost every world culture has an account of a great flood in their ancient history. The Bible says that this flood was catastrophic and it was worldwide, and it would actually be shocking if there were no stories about it in other cultures.